Hi everyone, it's Niamh here and welcome to my art journey channel. Today we're going to be creating some depth using stencils, and these are some of the new stencils from the Dina Wakley May Release. So I'm starting in a really grungy old page in my journal. This is in my little craft journal, and I'm just tearing up some of the new collage tissue to make some interest in the background and also to hide up the blobbiest bits of my background there. I had a little bit of gesso. I'd used it as a mark making page, so I had all sorts of pen marks on this, and then I put some gesso over the top of it, so I made it a little bit more usable, and then I've put some collage over it. So any page can be used in your journal, you don't need to waste it. I decided to go in with my fingers, and I actually really love how this page turned out because I've finger painted. I think it would have, I don't know, been a bit heavy-handed if I'd used a paintbrush on it. So just by putting that little bit of paint and then just using my fingers to rub it out, it really worked. It also meant I left some white and some of the sort of marks from underneath showing, which I really liked as well. So I used some cheddar and some fuchsia, and now I'm going in with this beautiful stencil. I think it's called Pointed, and a little bit of turquoise and stenciling over the top. So I just really love the shape of this stencil, and also the fact that you can line it up and repeat the stencil really easily. So you can see my stenciling is quite light on this, and that sort of worked in my favor. I decided that I wanted to put something on this. I knew I needed some black on here in some way, and I thought I would use these transparent circles on it, but I didn't really like it. I thought it was just a bit too generic. It didn't feel right to me, so I sort of played around with it a little bit, and I was like, well, I could draw my own circles or I could do something, but it's just not right. So I kind of gave up on that idea. You sort of see me sitting there twiddling my thumbs going, what do I do? So I went to my old favourite of putting faces on the page, and as I was going through my stamp drawer, which sits next to me, I came across the stamps, these ones here, that have got some text on it as well. They're kind of grungy but solid, and I thought they would make a really good effect on the page. I decided to stamp straight on my page, and it didn't work very successfully, unfortunately. I just didn't get that contrast I really wanted on the page. So you can see it's quite light. So I decided I would stamp on some tissue paper instead, which is a really handy thing to do. Because I've stamped with archival ink, I couldn't just wash it off as well, so that made it a little bit difficult. This is one of the new tissues from Dina Wakley. I couldn't find my plain collage tissue, so I decided to use this. I quite like how that circle went through the eye. So don't think that just because you've got printing on the image means you can't use it. So feel free to use what you've got. So once I'd stamped out my image and cut it out, fussy cut it, I'm going to glue it over the top of my original stamped image, and you can see here the difference in contrast. So I can still see, once you put the gel medium on it, it sort of melts the tissue paper away, but you've got this really bold image on your page, and it just made a huge difference. The other thing that really helped, and this is what creates the depth on the page, is I had some of that stenciling underneath the image, and now I've got some of the stenciling over the top. So it's a really clever way of blending your stenciled image into your page. It also, with this image in particular, helps to blend that side edge in that has got, it doesn't have sort of an edge to it, into the background. So it's a really, by doing some stenciling underneath and then stenciling over the top, it helps to balance out your page and look like this figure is sort of emerging through the stenciling. With my Stabilo Ore pencil, I just drew in a little bit of a neck and outlined my image, and I also put the whites of the eyes in my in the face. can't remember what I'm talking about, with some black ink, or you could use the black gloss spray. I've just done some really fine black splatter over it, so just having that little bit of extra black on the page helps to balance it out a little bit. Then what I decided was I really needed a quote on the page in some way. So as I was thinking if I was going to write it on by hand or if I was going to stamp it, I decided I wanted just to put a little bit of shadowing on my figure, and that's where the Stabilo oil pencil comes in really, really handy, because just by wetting it you get this beautiful shadow effect coming off it. You don't need to do very much to get a really cool effect. So I'm just going through and finding my stamps off to my right hand side, and I've found this one which I really, really liked, and I'm just using my I was going to say Stabilo oil pencil, my archival ink, to pop it up onto the page. I then decided the bottom right hand corner in particular, but sort of the bottom edge of the image just needed something extra. So while I was going through my stamps, I came across these leaf stamps. They're really, really fine hand-drawn leaves. They've been drawn on grid paper, so they've sort of got this gritty pattern in the background, and they were just enough to sort of fill in a little bit of a gap. So just with a wet paintbrush, while the ink was still wet from the Stabilo, not from Stabilo oil pencil, sorry, from the archival ink, I just wet it so it sort of blended it in together a little bit. So you can see here how I've got the stenciling underneath my image, my stenciling over the top of it, how that shadowing has worked with the Stabilo oil pencil, that fineness of the leaf over the top of the page, and the lovely quote, "You're not obsessed with your life, change it." So I really enjoyed how this page came together. It was a lot of trial and error, but it's not bad for a grungy old page in my journal and how it turned out in the end. So I hope you have a go. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, bye for now.